Okay, it's a big day. This is a big day. What I want to invite you to do, if I can, is to listen in a different way. Now, don't look at me. All right, just imagine you're listening to an audio recording. And let's try and, we're going to find this, right? Here we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to move through little moments of Dharma for a few minutes. Right? The first few minutes, we're just going to set things up. You can listen with your eyes closed, but then you got to stay with your attention really close inside because it's easy to daydream. Right? So we're going to kind of spend the first, period of time just setting this up. And once we've set it up, then we're going to go through several practice stages, right? 3 very, very major practice stages with yourself, right, and together. Okay. We live in a planet drenched in shame. And the planet drenched in shame is itself in some fundamental way root cause. The planet drenched in shame is in some fundamental way root cause itself for existential risk. So I just want to point to a scene that I've mentioned in passing before, but it's actually a great scene to try and just capture it. It's 2016. There's a presidential debate, right, happening in the United States. And this has nothing to do with your politics and who you like and who you don't like, right? It's a much more subtle and much more dramatic scene, right, that's playing itself out. So in this scene, you've got Donald Trump, right, debating Hillary Clinton. Donald Trump has just made a video, an audio recording that had been captured. He hadn't made a recording. A recording had been captured where he's talking to, right, a particular figure from the Bush family, and he's saying, wow, when you're famous, you can just grab them by the pussy, and they'll let you. An obnoxious recording, obviously, right, that caused great scandal in America, did not in any way prevent him from being elected president. And so everyone's talking about, right, Donald Trump's, horrific misogynism. So he's there with his wife, Melania. Melania, right, who has a kind of fabricated biography, right, who begins her life, right, as actually probably a courtesan, which is a noble profession, right, but she's not willing to own that fact and own it proudly, right, marries Donald, probably not for his precise interpretations of Rilke, for other reasons, and that's quite obvious. So she's this trophy sexual incarnation, standing by Donald, who's also talked publicly about, if she wasn't my daughter, man, Ivanka, wow. So there's kind of that in play there. And there's all of the press that's going after that, but then Trump's team, in response to that, because he's debating Hillary Clinton, walks in the 4 women who've made accusations against Bill Clinton of various forms of harassment and sexuality. So those 4 women are sitting there. Then there's a series of internet posts talking about Hillary's ostensibly secret relationship with Huma Abedin, the beautiful woman who was her chief of staff, right? No validation, internet. Huma Abedin's husband, Anthony Weiner, is sexting to teenagers, for which he eventually, right, loses his political office. He had an enormously promising possibility. He's actually an enormously gifted man. But that doesn't go well. And this scene is blasted into 90 million homes. and no one talks about what's happening. Right? In other words, this is a performance of shame at the very heart of culture, at the center of a Western democracy, in its formative moment, that will have ripple and cascading effect on everything that's going to happen in reality. And shame, and particularly a kind of sexual shame, or a weaponizing of shame. Now, the fact that it may be appropriate, right, that's not the issue at play. We're not here adjudicating Donald Trump or Bill Clinton, or, right, and we're not coming here with any kind of comparison between these stories or distinguishing between them. That's not our issue here at all. That's not our issue. Right? Inkwells have been spilled on that. That's not our issue in any sense, shape, or form. Our issue just is that at the very center of culture, you see this ejection from Eden, and you see this utter confusion about the sexual, this utter inability, right, to find desire in its most potent and beautiful expressions, right, this kind of transgressive sexuality that's disowned and split off, right, all through the very center of a public event. And in the commentary, and I sat with Betsy and Terry Nelson at their home in Mill Valley, and we watched this together, and we watched the commentary. None of this came up. So shame is split off. And shame is always, in some sense, related to desire.